growing up, when I've seen the things that I've seen and experienced the things that I experienced, I vowed to myself, Shannon point, that I didn't let football be my identity. Football is what I did. It wasn't who I was. And I think that a lot of times, young athletes, that's who they identify themselves as that athlete, right? Because they hold on to those words that coaches say to us every single day, the fans, what they say to us every single day, your teammates. Sports is what you do. Sports is not who you are. And I want all the young people to understand that, because if you allow the sport to consume you, you're lost.
What's up, student athlete world? It's your boy Lester Sanders here from Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this is I Am Student Athlete.
Mental health. I didn't understand what it was when I was playing ball. Even throughout my life, I didn't understand the issues or the things that I was feeling. As a young kid and growing up on the southwest side of Canton, it wasn't until I retired from NFL ball that I realized that I had to go talk to somebody, because I had some things that I had to work through. Being an athlete, we're trained to be gladiators, right? From the time that I was 6 years old, I was supposed to be 8 to play on the Bears, but I was 6, I was so big that Coach Fletcher was like, come on, boy, let's come on and play. But I didn't realize the traumas that you experience as a young person. As an athlete, everybody praises you for everything that you do. Every accolade that you achieve, every tackle, every sack, everybody's cheering your name. In my hoop game, they know it, left-handed, all day long. Everybody cheers. But what happens when you go home? What happens when the game's over? What happens when you didn't have a good game, right? Those are the things that I was dealing with that I didn't realize what was really happening to me, and the things that I was experiencing as a young athlete. As a kid, I remember being yelled at many times, and not really understanding how that really impacted me and how it affected me as a young athlete. I remember Coach Brown, a little next to nothing. My man was about that big, but scared the life out of me. And he would yell at us. I was like, man, this dude, I understand this dude. But I respect you, but I didn't realize that was doing nothing but condition us for later in life, right? When I get to the NFL, and I'm about to run with it because I got some certain things I want to touch base on, but I'm about to run with it. When I got to the NFL, my rookie year, same kind of situation with Coach Brown. There were 17 D linemen that was brought into camp for training camp at Green Bay Packers. And I was like, oh man, I got my work cut out for me. By the second week, or let me, and this is I'm going to date myself a little bit, but back when I was playing, and it's crazy that I got to say that now with these kids now, we had 3 days as far as training camp. We practiced early in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. Now they practice one time and that's it. But we had 17 D linemen to start with, and by the second week, we only had 7 healthy. And so I was on first team, second team, and scout team, all 3 practices. So I'm like, God, this is crazy. And so the hierarchy in the NFL, the head man obviously is the GM and the head man, the head coach, and he always has his assistants. But one of the assistants come to me and says, hey, Coach Sugar wants to meet with you. This is after an evening practice, and so I was like, all right. So I go over to his office, he's sitting there, and he turns on the film practice. He's just going through plays. I'm trying to make sure that I know exactly what he's about to ask me so I can answer. We go through like 15, 20 plays, and I'm thinking, is he going to say anything? He dropped the clicker. I sit across the table, just like, I was sitting here, and he lays into me. And I'm talking about lays into me. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm done, right? Game over. I was going, getting here I come, right? But that impacted me negatively because when I went home that night, going up to my dorm that night, I didn't know how to react to that. I didn't know how to digest that, right? So it sticks with you, right? And I'm like, is this what it's supposed to be, right? So I'm gonna touch base on that when I come back to the story. So as athletes, you got to think we're praised on everything that we do. And I had a hard time with it. I had a hard time with it. Because I was fighting the fact that I was getting all these awards through high school, through college and everything. But I never had anybody to talk to. Even when the game was hard for me, and it was hard every day. Don't let the accolades fool you. It was hard. I never had anybody to talk to. And I struggled. Because I wanted to quit every single day. I had somebody tell me that was very, very close to me when I got my scholarship to Ohio State. He said, you ain't gonna reach because I ain't. And that's somebody who I really is close to me. And it hurt me. And it hurt me deep because I was like, all I wanted was him to just say, I just wanted him to say, good job. But I never heard those words from him. Growing up, when I seen the things that I've seen and experienced things that I experienced, I vowed to myself, to your point, Shannon, that I didn't let football be my identity. Football is what I did. It wasn't who I was. And I think there's a lot of times, young athletes, that's who they identify themselves as that athlete, right? Because they hold on to those words that coaches say to us every single day, the fans, what they say to us every single day, your teammates. Sports is what you do. Sports is not who you are. And I want all the young people to understand that because if you allow the sport to consume you, you're lost. You're lost. And I hate to say that, and I look at some of these young guys who get these huge contracts and you think that you have to live a certain lifestyle. Because I fell in that trap my rookie year. I was hanging out with guys who were older vets. And because I didn't know, I didn't have anybody to coach me through this, right? I'm going through life like everybody else is day by day. And when I get there to the NFL, I get my signing bonus, and I'm thinking, okay, so what I see on TV is I gotta go buy a car, buy jewelry, live a certain lifestyle because I made it, right? And I made a couple of mistakes. I didn't do everything And I thought that's what all NFL players did. I thought that's what we were supposed to do because what society has told us we were supposed to do, right? What we see on TV. But I made sure that I separated myself from those guys after I made those financial mistakes and those challenges that I had to go through. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to share, but I don't want to, you know. It wasn't until I think my sophomore year at Ohio State is when I really made the change of understanding that football is not who I am. It's what I do. I was sitting there, I redshirted my freshman year, and a lot of people understand what redshirt is when you got to take a year straight academics. You can't compete at anything, you basically have practice on it. And that hurt me a lot because I had guys down there like Jamar and Dawson, guys, Andre Hooks and some Tyler Everett, those guys are down there playing, and I'm redshirted. Only guy that is not on the field, but everybody else is. And I continued to go through Ohio State and really felt lost because nobody, like I literally, there was one instance, before the game, when you come off the bus, and the coach was giving everybody, shaking everybody's hand and giving everybody hand slaps. So I'm trying to come off the bus, and I'm like, yeah, coach, and he turned his back and was like, who's that guy, right? I was like, holy smokes. At that point, I knew that, yeah, this isn't for me, right? And so I went into a dark place, and I became a very angry person. And I fought a lot. I didn't know how to speak and express my emotions, so I used these. And I fought a few of my teammates, and we used to have a lot of bars on High Street. And there was one bar in particular that hired me to be a bouncer. And, with college athlete, we didn't make a lot of money. So they paid me like $125 every Friday and Saturday for me to be a bouncer. It was fantastic. Because not only did I make money, but I made money with my butt, right? Because all the frustration and anger that I had inside of me from 6 years old on up, I can now release it, right? And so that's what I did for a couple years. And Coach Coop sat me down, and he said to me, and said, son, you under dead or in prison. I'm like, who's this guy talking to? Because I was fighting so much, because I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to release the anger that I felt inside of me from being the #1 recruit in Ohio, winning every defensive award that you can win in high school, to not being able to get a handshake off the bus. So I internalized all of that stuff and continued to fight. I remember fighting a guy named Tyson Walters, who was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and Matt Keller, and a number of other guys, David Mitchell, guys that I played with at Ohio State. And it's crazy because when I look back on it, I was a very, very, very angry person because I was hurt. I didn't know how to express it. And so I'm going on my sophomore year, going to my junior year, and I actually wanted to quit football. It wasn't what I expected it to be. And I wanted to quit because I was so frustrated and so angry with everything that was going on that it didn't matter to me anymore. And to Adrian's point, from a biblical standpoint, a guy by the name of Matt LeVar came to me one day and he says, you get a chance, read this. I looked at him like, bro, I'm not reading that. Talking to him, right? So I go back to my hotel room. I was in the waiting room. I think it was actually at Iowa, actually, that traveled with the team that day. And go back to my room and got out of the shower. And I was, about to get in bed, and a piece of paper was sitting there. And I looked at it, and I was like, I'll read that in the morning. And I opened it up, and I was like, let me just see what you're talking about. So I opened it up. And it was the Lord's Prayer. It's crazy. And I was so rebellious because I didn't want to read it. I didn't want to read it because I was like, I ain't got time for that. So I'm sitting there watching TV. You ever have something that's calls your name and keeps talking to you? And that piece of paper, I looked at it, and I started reading it, I put it back. So I'm flicking through. We didn't have the sophisticated phones like, we could scroll, Whipple scroll, and it was this, it was watching TV, right? And so I said to myself, I said, okay, all right, I'll go ahead and read it. And I started reading that piece of paper. Tears started coming down my eyes. Because that was the coach that I needed. That was the person that I needed to talk to because I was so angry. And I cried like a baby about golly. And that's when things started to change for me because I surrendered. And I said, this is, I'm this 6'4" at the time, 65, 75-pound man. And at that size, I thought I could do anything, right? Outside of having an S on my chest, I felt like I was unstoppable. But that prayer humbled me, and it brought me to my knees. And that's when my life began to change. Right? So I fast forward to the NFL and get drafted in the 3rd round pick. And I think everything's great. And now we'll go back to the story with Coach Sherman laying into me. Right? I'm a 3rd round pick. I'm like, okay, I'm that guy. Right? He lays into me. And I thought my NFL career was over just like that. I said to myself, if this is what the NFL is about, I can say, can I take your order? Very well. Because I'm not signing up for this. So I go back to my room that night. My roommate was Nick Barnett. And Nick, again, the man was there said, I put my forehead because, again, I started feeling like, oh, I'm the guy, I'm the man, right? 3rd round pick, I'm that guy. Nick cracks open his Bible, and he says, you can read a few scriptures with me, without hesitation. Give it to me. I'll be reading, right? Because I knew that's what I needed, right? I needed that home. When I got drafted to the Green Bay Packers, I don't know judge me on this, but when I got drafted, I was at my mom's house. They wanted me to go to New York and all that kind of stuff. I said, no, I want to do this with my family. So at my mom's house, my neighbors taking us to all the bands and all the TV people at our house and everything. And they said, call my name across the ticker and says, Kenny Peterson, Green Bay Packers. Called my agent and I said, JS, where's Green Bay? He said, what'd you say? I said, well, where's Green Bay? He said, Wisconsin. I said, is it cold there? I didn't know. You can't. That's all I knew. Not 12 blocks, right? Anyways, so Nick Barnett starts reading the book, and I went out and tried to be the greatest player that I could be. Ended up playing with the Green Bay Packers for 3 years. Got released, got picked up by the Denver Broncos, which was a complete blessing in disguise. But I'm sorry to be so long-winded. Let me wrap it up with this. When I got to the Green Bay, or got to the Denver Broncos, I had a great career there. Played with a great coach, a great group of guys. But one of the things that the NFL doesn't do, and we don't do well enough with these young athletes, is teach them to understand what happens afterwards. Right? What happens when that game you can't play anymore, you can't shoot that ball anymore, you can't tackle anybody anymore. I got that phone call on April 14th. Ryan Zimmer called me and says, hey, KP, listen, we're going a different direction. And at first I thought it was joking, like, yeah, right. But I said, excellent. So, what do you tell me what you're telling me? He says, we're going to let you go. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, how about you just let me come to camp and compete? And I remember I was sitting in Columbus at my house in Columbus. And he said, I would love to, but we were going a different direction. I said, okay. I said, well, thank you for the opportunity. We'll be in touch. And it didn't hit me until my agent called me right after that. He said, hey, all right, we got to figure something out. And I was like, all right, well. So I got a call from like 6 other teams, and God intervened in every one of them that I didn't go to the workouts. Whether I was sick or whatever the case may be, it didn't matter. But at that point, I knew it was time for me to go and hang it up. And that's when my depression started. I didn't know how much the game of football was such an outlet, and how much I relied on it every day. Because when we go through, I've never been married or anything like that, but when you go through the daily struggles of having kids and a wife and all that kind of stuff, or even just every day, I would take all that frustration and give it to somebody on the field. But when that game is taken away from you, and now you don't, now what? Right? I'm sitting here not realizing that I'm depressed. I didn't realize that I was having these issues. Right? So I prayed about it and all that kind of stuff. I didn't leave my house for almost 2 months. When I got that phone call, it devastated me. Because I wasn't sure if the people who were around me were friends of mine because of Kenny Peterson, a football player, or just Kenny Peterson, right? I didn't know. I didn't know. And it's hard to decipher because you got so many people around you. Me not leaving my house for 2 months, I thought this is absolutely normal. Until Jeremy Stokes knocked on my door. He kept calling me, I kept ignoring his phone call. He kept calling me, ignoring his phone call. He said, man, you gotta get out. What are you talking about, bro? I'm good. I ordered pizza, I had pizza boxes stacked up. kind of stuff. I need, why do I need to leave my house? But I was in such deep depression, and I didn't know. And that's when I decided to go, obviously, talk to somebody and get some help. And I'm sorry for being so long, but mental health is such a serious issue in today's world, and I encourage so many people to go talk to somebody. Go release whatever frustration you have inside of you. Please talk to somebody. Find a friend, find a mentor, find somebody that you can talk to, because as men, we think we can fix anything and everything. Got a problem, no problem, I got this, let me fix this, right? But what happens when we're broken? What happens when we are hurt? We got feelings too. I didn't realize that how valuable it is to talk to somebody about your emotions, about the things that you're going through, about the traumas that you go through and you've been through. We all have it. There's not one person in here that's immune to the trials and tribulations of life. But the difference is that some people can cope with it and some people need help. And I'm one of those people. I need help. We have a group called Entrepreneur Kenny, and that group don't realize how much that they help me, right? Everybody says, oh, you talk about business and all that kind of stuff. Y'all help me more than you know, because of my day-to-day struggle with, being an entrepreneur, being a patriarch of family, as far as, everybody comes to me with their issues, everybody. And it's okay, God gives you big shoulders, right? Sometimes these shoulders get heavy. And when they do, poor agent over here, I was talking to her all this. I know he probably get tired of it, but I appreciate you, bro. And Mike Goss, he and I talk a few times a week. And I know sometimes he listens to me because he'll just go, And I'm like, Mike, I didn't say anything. Oh, okay. Go ahead, bro. Say what you said. But I encourage everybody to go speak to somebody like Miss Shannon, Miss Robin, because it's important that we get those things off our chest and get those things worked out in our lives. Because gentlemen, I'm telling you, listen, yes, we are men and we are strong, but we are some of the most fragile people on God's earth. Quick story, I'll tell you how amazing women are. Well, in Walmart, I don't know, in Costco's parking lot. And this lady, she got out of her car, and she was on the phone. She goes around the car, she got two little ones, got out of the car, they had like 3 and nothing. And she's on the phone, she gets a newborn baby out, like what Jay's holding, and the one little boy, he's about to run in the street. She's on the phone, reaches her leg around and grabs him, and still on the phone and got the baby. Now, God knows, listen, I would have gave up everything right then. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm turning everything in. But that's to the point of women, how amazing they are and how they multitask and how they can cope with us, right, as men. Now think about all that stuff that she's going through. She probably has a husband that's homesick, who's acting like a baby, right? Or nagging her. She got to cook dinner. She got to do all the things. Who's her outlet? Does that make sense? And here we are. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders because that's what we're supposed to do. Who's our outlet? So men, women, I guess we all just need to help each other, right? I don't know. I don't want to ramble, but listen, this is my time. I appreciate you guys having me a part of this program and whatever. But how about you?